Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah.
Innal muttaqina fi maqamin amin fi jannatin wa uyun yalbasuna min sundusin wa استبرق متقابلين كذلك وزوجناهم بحور عين كذلك وزوجناهم بحور عين يدعون فيها بكل فاكهة آمنين لا يذوقون فيها الموت إلا الموتة الأولى ووقاهم عذاب الجحيم فضلا من ربك ذلك هو الفوز العظيم.
Some translations of Qu'ran, heaven is mentioned as a place in paradise for men, where they are having big-bosomed women who are perpetual virgins with brown eyes. Is this true? First of all, I'll ask you, is it true?
No. I don't know about the translations. I can't speak for the translations, but I can say there is no place in Quran that says heaven is for men. Absolutely not. And there are many things to the contrary.
There is a very common misconception, especially amongst the Westerners, that in Islam, paradise is only meant for the men, only for the males. This misconception can be easily clarified by quoting just one verse of the Quran, of Surah Nisa, chapter number 9, verse number 124, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِنَ الصَّالِحَاتِ مِنْ ذَكَرٍ أَوْ أُنْثَى وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ فَأُولَٰئِكَ يَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةَ وَلَا يُظْلَمُونَ نَقِيرًا.
As for the mentioning of some of the actual delights in paradise, if you will, you have to go back to a fundamental rule. And that is, well, two rules actually. And that is that nothing in paradise is like anything that you know or can even imagine. That's number one. Number two, no desire whatsoever remains unsatisfied in paradise. Whatever you want, it's there. You know, somebody might ask, well, I want a McDonald's Playland. Am I going to have that in paradise? Well, I'll tell you the answer. The answer is one of two things. Either this is just some silly thing you're thinking of now, and when you get there you won't actually want it, and you won't have it. Or, if you really get there and you really want it, there it is. Because nothing is unsatisfied in paradise. That's the meaning of paradise. Alright? So people come along and say, well, a man has 70 wives in one day, and even in Quran, one place it mentions he's just real busy with pleasure. That's the translation of the verse. Alright? But go back to the rule. No desire will be unmet. So a woman comes along and says, well, how about a woman wants 70 men? Well, let me go back to my answer. If indeed a woman makes it to paradise and wants 70 men, she will definitely have them. But think about this. When Allah said in the Quran to the men, I could reward you with anything, even having 70 new wives in a single day, everybody understands that. At least every man understands that. I don't know if every woman understands that, but most people understand that. And it's something good in most people's estimation. Now, if Allah said to the women, when you get to paradise, you'll be the busiest Kaaba out there, you're going to have 70 men every day, what would that be? That would be an insult. That's just the nature of us. That's the way we think about things. So it's not an issue of, oh, the men got this and the women didn't get anything. Everybody got everything. There's not even anything you can imagine or even think for a second that you feel like you had it. It's there, whether you're a man or a woman. But what was mentioned is what was appropriate and commensurate to our natures.
What a lovely answer. And it makes me feel good to know that I could get McDonald's in the Paradise and it will actually taste good.
Many of the people are confused. Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about beautiful women for the men, and He does not talk about handsome men for the women? Will not the women also be blessed with a mate and spouse in Jannah? And the reason is that, generally speaking, it is not in the nature of women that these types of details be exposed and told. Look, even the sister did not want to be known and identified. And this is a sign of perfection, that the woman wants to be modest. These types of issues do not form public conversation. And so the Qur'an does not emphasize this point. It doesn't publicize it. But the reality is, as the Prophet ﷺ said, وَلَيْسَتِ الْجَنَّةِ أَعْزَبْ. There is nobody in paradise who shall remain single. So if a sister was married to a person in this world, they shall be in Jannah eternally together, and that will be sufficient for her. She will not feel any jealousy. She will not feel any envy that the man has been blessed with other hur in Jannah. But if a sister were single and she did not marry, or she did not have a husband, or her husband, we seek Allah's refuge, was so bad he didn't make it to Jannah. She made it, but he didn't make it. Then Allah Azza wa Jal has indeed a creation for them as well. But in the perfection of the Qur'an, and to manifest the nature of men and the nature of women, Allah Azza wa Jal did not describe this creation as He described that given to the men. So, the answer to your question, in a brief response, is yes. There are indeed creations that Allah has created for the women. Some ulama have said that they will be married to son of this world. And others have said, no, there is another creation in Jannah. Whatever the point, whatever the case might be, our goal is to get to Jannah. Once we're there, we will be given everything in it as well. So don't worry, once you get to Jannah, you will have all that you desire, inshallah.
When you think about it, God, or Allah as we call Him, He's the one who created human beings, and of course the one who creates better about His creation than anyone else. And this is even if someone invents something in this life, they know about it better than anyone else. So the one who created the human beings is the one who knows what works best for them. Is the one who knows what works best for them. Is the one who knows what works best for them.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that in the Jannah there are trees that have talh. Talh can be translated to bananas. Now you're not going to think, because you're not allowed to think with your own simplistic framework and the way you are thinking in worldly terms. A banana is that yellow object that tastes in this sort of way. That is something that you must distance yourself from whenever you speak of matters of the unseen.
So don't confuse virgin girls in the paradise with dancing girls here in a bar somewhere. This is totally different. This is not prostitution. This is not prostitution. This is not prostitution.